Um, and good friend of mine, and I met her through Covenant Coaching. And she was also, she's not anymore from Mountain Time, but she used to be from Wyoming, and or at least lived there. And so anyway, I'm bringing her on here because she's just got a story to share of her walk into Covenant Coaching, becoming a coach, and then maybe a little bit about her story before that. And so thank you for joining me, Karidon. And can you just start out sharing what brought you into becoming a covenant coach?
Yeah, absolutely. I love that you're doing this, Jackie. Like, thank you for bringing this to more people and like sharing other people's stories of doing this too, because I think that you have such a gift of how you speak to people and how people can relate to you. And that's one of the things that I love the most about being a covenant coach is we're all like relatable to, like, we're all, I mean, in a sense, we're like normal people, even though we're technically not normal people. But I love that you're doing this. And I'm super honored that you asked me to come on and share my story, because it's one that is like, looking back on it, it's been almost 2 years now that, in fact, it has been 2 years since I was even introduced, which is interesting. I just realized it has been almost exactly 2 years, maybe just over, that I was introduced to even the concept of a covenant coach. Like, I didn't have a clue what that meant. So when I was first introduced to even the idea of like a life coach, it was something that I was like, what does that even mean? Like, I don't really get it. It was kind of especially even, a couple of years ago, it's more of a common term now, but even a couple of years ago, it was still kind of unknown of who they are, what they do. Yeah. Anyways, I was in a season where I was a new mom. I had oh my gosh, how old are I had a less than 6-month-old baby. I had a newborn baby, and I had a 3-year-old at home, and I was a stay-at-home mom. And I was in this place of really, I mean, looking back on it now, I'm like, I feel like it was just postpartum. It was winter season. It was all of these things, baby number 2, my husband worked a full-time job. I was really in this place of feeling like this is not fun. Like, this is not what I thought my life would look like, having 2 kids. We struggled with infertility for over 4 years before we got our first baby. And so I had all these ideas and thoughts of what life would be like to have kids. It was such a desire of mine. And then when I finally got them, it was like, I wasn't happy. I wasn't enjoying life. I was just struggling to do like the daily, day by day tasks. And I found myself in this place of just like, this is my one job, to like raise these babies and be a wife. And I felt like I was completely failing at it. And it took me to a very like dark season. I don't necessarily want to say it was like depression, but maybe like a light version of it. I mean, I don't use that term lightly, but looking back on it, it was just very dark. It felt very dark. And I remember literally like crying on the bathroom floor one night, asking God of like, I need somebody to just talk to. Like, I just want a friend. I want someone who I can talk to. And just being like, I need to like get some of this out. I need help. And it was not long. I wish I could go back and figure out the exact time frame, but it wasn't long after that. I had a friend reach out to me who we had known each other. We weren't super close, but we had known each other, for a couple years. And we had met each other through like an online business we were doing previously. And we'd kind of like very vaguely touched base every now and then with like, hey, how you doing? She had kids, I had kids, anyways, all these things. Yeah. And she sent me a message one morning and was like, hey, God placed it. I don't remember exactly what it said, but it's like, God placed it on my heart to reach out to you. I just barely finished with my covenant coach, life coaching certification, and I'm needing practice clients, just getting started. And I was praying about who to talk to, and God planted your name on my heart. And I just like lost it, because it was not long after I had this like breakdown, if you want to call it. And so anyways, that was at first I was just like, we're just going to talk. Like I have someone to talk to. Like, yes, I'm in. I don't even know what this means, what this looks like, but it was just one of those things that I was just like, I knew that it was God orchestrating something. And so I just was like, yes, I don't know anything about this, but yes, like I'm in.
Well, and it's so cool how God answered your prayer, just
Well,
brought the right person, the right time.
and it's so interesting because looking back on it, it's like, it looked completely different than how I thought it would look. Right. Like I just wanted a girlfriend that would be like a me too kind of a friend in a sense, like, almost like validate my problems of like, you know what I mean? And that's where I feel like God, it's almost like he always over delivers. And so instead of giving me like a me too, like pity party partner, he gave me somebody who's like, no, like I'm here to hear you, but I'm also here to help lift you up out of this place. It's like, I picture the visual of, like I wanted somebody to get in the mud pit with me. And it's like, God sent me somebody who like came to the mud pit and like put their hand down of like, hey, we're going to get out of there. Like, let's come up here. Like, it's way better up here. So it's because I didn't even know that was possible. I really didn't, because I'd never experienced that before. I'd only talked with other moms who were also in the same place I was. And it never helped anybody. So we all stayed there. It was like not fun. So anyways,
interesting, Karidon. I don't really know your story, so this is really cool to hear. But I remember a time when I was seeking to have somebody like that too. And I went down to a conference at a Bible school in the South, and I thought, oh, this might be an opportunity because I was staying with some people that were older and stuff. And that person, way older than me, poured their heart out to me there too. And I'm like, God, where is, so it's so cool to see how when we desire something, that God actually then brings us to it, plus and even grows us to that point where we can be the help for people too,
And it's like, he knows what we need so much more than we do. And so looking back on it now, I'm like, he knew what I needed. He knew I needed to be pulled out of that pit. Oh my gosh, it's making me like emotional. Like, and that's where, looking back on the whole picture, and even kind of, there's a lot of detail in there, but like fast forwarding a little bit, obviously there's a massive difference in my opinion, and I think probably yours too, Jackie, between life coaching and between a covenant coach. It's just a whole different, I feel like a whole different way of coaching. And so experiencing the power of having a covenant coach opened my eyes to such a new level of like God and how he works and his heart for us. And more so than, I've never worked with a life coach, right? Like I'm using that term lightly. Like I don't have anything to compare, but I do know of friends who have been through typical life coaching certification, and it's different. It's so different. So my experience, and this is what, introduced me to even the idea. I experienced the growth and the transformation that happened, not only in me and like my home, like I was able to keep up on the laundry. I was able to make a meal for my husband, to come home from work. And I was actually in a happy mood when he would walk in the door from a long day at work versus like throwing the kids at him and like running away and needing to decompress. Like it was our whole world was a different environment. And I was able to experience God at a different level and like understanding him at a different level too. That's what kind of transitioned me into being like I didn't intend to do this myself. When I was introduced to the idea of me becoming a coach, that wasn't even on my radar because I was in the place where I'm like, I'm still needing help, right? Like I still have a lot of my own problems. So I need those fixed before I can help anybody else. And it really, it was just, I won't, for sake of time, I won't go into the story in like detail about that, but God made it very, very clear to me that this was my path of you've experienced it. there are so many women and moms out there who are where you were, and you've experienced the power of it. So now you need to pass that on. And I mean, you probably have your own story with that too, of like, I don't know how I made it happen. I don't know how, like, I don't even, looking back now, I'm still like, I don't even know, like,
yeah,
how.
I'm the same, and
So
it's so cool because I think all of the coaches that I've talked to myself, they have the same story. The covenant coaches were called into this
yeah,
specifically by God, and it's changed our whole life. And yeah, I was just thinking of that. Our families walk in it, and we have no idea how financially we've done it,
yeah,
we've we've traveled more, we've just all the things are so much more in abundant that we've done, and we're like, wow,
yeah,
so cool.
yeah. It takes you on a whole new, it takes you from, this is the thing I keep experiencing, which it's like, it takes you from living in like the worldly system to like living in the world from a supernatural system. So it's like,
Mhm.
I mean, it takes even that scripture of like, we're in the world, not of it. And coaching, that it all starts in your mindset. All starts in your mindset. And that's where coaching is, covenant coaching specifically is so powerful. Whether, I mean, I feel like even coaching, which I'm sure you experience too, like even coaching my clients one-on-one or like in group coaching or whatever, like even coaching them, obviously we have Holy Spirit coaching with us, which is amazing because we're not showing up on our own. But I feel like there's so many times that I get coaching personally from helping my clients through stuff. Like it's a never ending process of just constantly working on our mindsets and like living in that state of connectedness and happiness and joy, right? Like all these things, it's a constant like realignment. I just picture this like constant, just like realignments when our mindsets start to like go off. It's like little realignments like all the time, whether it's from a person, whether it's from, obviously, like I work with a personal coach. And I know you do too, but it's like, even with my coaching clients, it's like, I'll walk away from a session sometimes being like, that was really good for me too. Like I needed that too. So,
uh,
oh, it's
that's
so good.
cool. Yeah, it's been an amazing walk, and I mean, what a privilege, for us and you to be called. I know you were a huge help you did a program on for teen girls, and I had 3 of my girls in that, and I know it made a difference in their lives. I've seen some of it firsthand, and just more life in them, if nothing else, and more peace and more maybe direction is what I'm seeing too. And so the coaching does make a difference, and the investment in it does too, because even like my thought was, when I put my girls in your program, I was like, this is going to make a difference. I just know it. Like, I believe that firsthand. And so I'm like, okay. And because I put some money toward that, like I invested in it, it's like that verse, putting your treasure where your heart is.
Yeah.
Like, I care about my girls enough to go, I'm doing this for them. And it's not all the physical stuff we buy them, like we're always doing physical stuff. What if we help them on the other end?
Yeah.
So that's the idea. Not only, that program you had done, but us as coaches, the idea is that then people invest in themselves, like they're seeing worth in themselves and their mindset and their family,
Yeah. Yeah. It's so powerful because it's like, that's the one thing. And I mean, I've been on I guess you could say like a quote unquote personal growth journey for like, gosh, almost like 10 years now. And it's insane to just like look back and see the power of investing in yourself, whatever that looks like, right? And there's different levels, there's different belief behind it, right? And that evolves as you evolve. I know it's massively evolved for me, but it's the one thing that I have never given up on with myself is I've never given up on knowing and trusting, like the belief behind the investment, that like this is an investment. It's not, when I would look at like investing in myself as far as like money, I would look at it as investment versus spending, and I would expect the return, right? Whether it's a return financially, whether it's a return, like whatever that return looks like, it always yields a return. And like looking back for me, it's like, that's the one skill that nobody can, and that this was a huge thing for the teen program that kept driving me too, of like, these girls living in this world at this time right now. And I mean, this goes for anybody, but like, especially those teens, I kept going at it from the place of like, these are skills and mindset tools that they will take with them for the rest of their life, and nobody can take it from them. Nobody can take that from you. So like, once you learn something, once you get a tool, once you get a strategy, once you get something inside of you, nobody can take it away from you, and you can't unlearn it. It's like,
Right.
once you see something, you can't unsee it. Like, so that's where I just feel oh my gosh, the best money I've ever spent anywhere, anytime, has been on myself. And it's been a lot, but it's all you. That's why I keep doing it, because I see the fruit that comes from it. So I'm almost to the point now where it's like, how much can I do? Like, how much more can I do? Because every single time it's yielded a return. It's
Right.
just the way it works.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
good.
it's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when you learn those, when you learn the tools and strategies, you can use them in every area of your life. It's not limited to any area. And yeah, there's just so much that it will transform in
Mhm.
every area. So
Yeah. One last thing I want to share is I think about back where I was when I very first started working with a coach, or before I even started working with a coach, versus now. Now I have a 5.5 and a 2.5-year-old and one on the way. And I think about parenting. And Jackie, I know you know a lot about this, but I think about parenting and I'm like, I don't know how people do it without like the skills to manage their mindset. Like without, honestly, for me, it's like, I don't know how any mom does not have a covenant coach that she works with, because I look at it now and I'm like, there's no way that I would be able to show up to my kids the way that I do without the skills and strategies that I have from working with a coach and being trained as a coach myself. So like looking at, I mean, all the things, that's the biggest return that I think I'll ever probably ever get, is what it's helped me to be able to communicate and groom and raise my kids. Like that's priceless to me, completely priceless.
yeah, well, and it's generational. And
Yeah.
so with your kids growing up with you like you are now compared to the mess on the floor, you know,
Right.
it'll
Oh, I just
they
got like
will grow
chills. Yeah.
they will grow up way different,
Yeah.
raise their kids different. So it's generational and that's huge.
Yeah.
Like you
Oh
can't
yeah.
put a price on that.
So good. I would do it a million times over. A million times over.
Yeah.
So good.
No, we're in the same spot with, the steps that we've taken with the coaching and then being in a life and business coaching inner circle with Hannah Keeley has been amazing. And sometimes I go into some of the meetings, the office hours and different things, and not sure what I got from it, but I always know I got something. It'll show up later, or I'll pull something out later, even if I didn't then. But it's just been such huge growth and
Yeah.
strides for the kingdom.
Yep.
So yeah, well, Karidon, was there anything that you are offering as a coach besides just your coaching, or anything you want to mention here?
Yeah. So I actually, I mean, obviously one-on-one coaching, but I am stepping into doing a group coaching program. So I have what the next thing I'm offering is a free 3-day challenge. It's called Your Next Level. So I geared this towards people who like moms who are where I was 2 years ago. So it's basically giving them the tools, the strategies, the mindset work around stepping out of that stuck place. It's almost like I almost picture like that mud pit. Like this 3-day challenge is designed to give you a hand out of that mud pit of getting out of that so then you can clearly get to your next level. So that is going to be launching on February, I believe the 7th, first Monday in February. So February 7th is when that free 3-day challenge is launching. So I do have a link. I wouldn't be able to say it because it's like its own little link.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can message Jackie, you can message me.
Later.
What's that?
Can you put it in the comments later after we're done?
Yeah. Yep. I will do that.
Yeah. So yeah, and I know that would, I mean, if there's any moms out there watching and they want to try it, Karidon's doing this free for 3 days. And if you just want to get a taste of what covenant coaching is like, because she'll be sharing some strategies, I'm sure, and different things on there. And if you just want a glimpse of what it may look like to step out of the place you're maybe feeling stuck in as a mom, this would be huge for you. And I would encourage you. Karidon's amazing. She's just a huge gift to the world and to moms and women. And so thank you, Karidon, for being on here and for chatting with me and the audience here. So
yes, thank you so much for having me. I love talking about this stuff. So whenever you ask me, I'm like, yes. Thank you.
Okay, well, we'll talk to you later. Thank you for being on here with us.
You're welcome. See ya.